Hello everybody, welcome back to Popcorn in Bed. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for watching a movie with me tonight. We are watching JFK, which the timing is kind of crazy because I randomly decided to have a courtroom movie poll. JFK surprisingly won, and then like after it had won and I was about to watch it, literally that day or a couple days ago, the JFK files were released. Even when this poll went up and when it won, it definitely seems like it's controversial. I admittedly do not know a ton about the JFK assassination. I actually watched this show forever ago called 1863 or 1961 or something with James Franco, and he like time travels back to this time to try and prevent it, and it was actually a very good show. Like I really enjoyed it. It was a mini series, and that's kind of where I learned the most about it, and then did some research after that because I wanted to see what was true and what was embellished and blah blah blah. And so this movie is this director's interpretation, I think, or what he thinks happened, or I don't know, but I don't think anyone truly knows. Even with the release of these films, I don't think anyone truly knows the truth. And so, like I said, this is one person's interpretation maybe, or he thinks the closest to the truth. We'll see. This is a Kevin Costner movie, which I'm never mad about. I've watched him in so much on the channel now. He's one of my absolute favorites, especially 90s Kevin. Just watched him in No Way Out, which, so I'm excited about that part. It's a long one. I think it's like 3.5 hours. And like I said, I'm excited to see and learn more about this time period and leading up to it, and then immediately after, and all of that. So, okay, I'm just remembering, I watched that movie 13 Days about the Cuban Missile Crisis. Kevin Costner was the assistant or chief of staff or something to JFK. But I don't think Kevin Costner plays JFK in this. I don't know. Okay, let's just watch it. Let's watch this movie and we'll talk about it all after. Okay, Patreon, podcast, Instagram, like, subscribe, bell.
A vast proportion.
Do I know Oliver Stone from any other movies?
We annually spend on military security alone.
President Dwight D. Eisenhower's farewell address to the nation.
Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
Senator John Fitzgerald Kennedy of Massachusetts wins one of the narrowest election victories in American history. He inherits a secret war against the communist Castro dictatorship in Cuba. He claims the CIA lied to him and tried to manipulate him into ordering an all-out American invasion of Cuba.
We must re-examine our own attitudes towards the Soviet Union. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's future, and we are all mortal.
He's a classy guy. Classy looking guy. Hello.
They're gonna kill Kennedy.
Been that way since they brought her in.
No!
Dallas, November 22nd, 1963. Oh no. Right in front of his wife. What's that about? Is this gonna happen right here, right now? At the very beginning of the movie? Okay.
3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas.
3 shots.
Boss, the president's been shot in Dallas 5 minutes ago.
Oh, no. President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Oh, poor wife and kids.
I just administered the last rites to President Kennedy.
I seen his face when it hit. His ear blew off. He kind of flopped over on his stomach.
Okay.
They're balling like they knew the man. Makes me want to puke.
Okay, someone died. A life is gone.
I can't
That's what happens
maybe
when you let the n****s vote.
Okay.
Together with the Jews and the Catholic.
You can
like
leave.
an Irish bleeding heart.
Maybe you had a little too much to drink.
Grumpy old man.
Suspect identified as Lee Harvey Oswald.
I don't know what I am charged with, but I emphatically deny these charges.
Who's been going through my files?
The hell would I want to look through your files, Chief?
I always like my files. You're the only one here today.
Oh my gosh.
I really don't know what this situation is about. Nobody has told me anything except that I'm accused of murdering a policeman.
He is still believed to be a dedicated Marxist and a fanatical supporter of Fidel Castro.
Is the conspiracy if Lee Harvey Oswald, like maybe the conspiracy is he did shoot him, but it was all set up by the CIA, an inside job, or if there was another guy. I'm sure there's lots.
One name keeps popping up is David Ferry. Oswald was seen with him several times last summer.
He's been shot!
70 cops in that basement. What the hell were they doing?
This is crazy.
Wow, I didn't realize that was on TV. Oh, his kid's little.
I met you on Carondelet Street right after your election.
Is that Joe Pesci?
I never met anybody named Oswald. Anybody told you that has to be crazy.
Perhaps you knew this man under another name.
No, I never saw him before in my life.
There's one other matter that's come up, Dave. We were told that you took a trip to Texas shortly after the assassination on Friday.
Yeah, now that's true. I drove to Houston. I hadn't been there ice skating in many years, and I was with a couple of young friends, and
In one of the most violent thunderstorms in recent memory.
Ice skating in Texas?
Dave, I find your story simply not believable.
Really?
He was really nice about that.
In a thorough background check, the Bureau found no evidence that Mr. Ferry knew Lee Harvey Oswald or has had any connection with the assassination of President Kennedy.
Let's get on with our lives, gentlemen.
Hello, Newman. Oh, wow. 3 years later.
Get out of control. I saw a girl the other day. She was pregnant. You could see her whole belly. And you know what she had painted on it? Love child.
Both grumpy old men in here.
We've bitten off more Vietnam than we could possibly chew. Figures with that polecat Lyndon in the White House.
Polecat?
You know, I sometimes think things have gone downhill since John Kennedy died, Senator.
Nobody's gonna tell me that kid did the shooting job he did from that damn bookstore. Sure, 3 experts, and not one of them could do it. They're telling us that Oswald got off 3 shots with world-class precision, and according to his Marine buddies, he's got Maggie's draw. You know what that means? Wasn't any good. Average man be lucky to get 2 shots off. And I tell you, the first shot would always be the best. Here, the 3rd shot's perfect. 1 pristine bullet, that dog don't hunt.
You think there were other men involved, Russell?
If I were investigating the case, I'd round up 100 of the world's best riflemen, find out which ones were in Dallas that day. You've been dug hunting. I think Oswald's a good old-fashioned decoy. What'd he say? I'm just a patsy.
And the guy that killed Oswald, what did they say? Jack Ruby? Do you think he also...
Dinner's just about ready.
This is me being a conspiracy theorist. Do you think he also... Like, they didn't want Oswald to go to trial, be investigated?
They're saying they heard shots coming from the grassy knoll area in front of Kennedy, not the book depository behind him.
Grassy knoll. I remember that.
Would you think the Kennedy assassination's a little bit out of your domain?
Can't believe a man as intelligent as Earl Warren ever read what was in those volumes.
Mr. Bowers, I believe you already talked to us about this matter before your deposition. Is that correct? Now, is there anything else you told us that I haven't asked you about that you can think of?
Nothing that I can recall.
Witnesses excused.
Well, we got a long freight that was in there. We pulled some people off there, took them to station.
Do you mean some transients?
Tramps and hobos.
Were all those questions?
Yes, sir. They were taken to the station and questioned.
All right, let's go back to that Amos Heurens matter.
Yes, traffic had been cut off into the area since about 10, but there were 3 cars that came in during this time. Cars circled the parking lot and left like they was checking the area. And one of the drivers seemed to have something he was holding up to his mouth. That last car came in about 7-10 minutes before the shooting. It was a white Chevrolet 4-door Impala, muddy up to the windows. Towards the underpass,
what am I watching?
I saw 2 men. They were standing behind a picket fence. They were looking up towards Maine and Houston, following the caravan as it came down.
Like, who's on trial here?
There were 2 other men. They were on the eastern end of the parking lot. At the time of the shooting, there seemed to be some commotion. I just am unable to describe a flash of light or smoke or something out of the ordinary had occurred there on the embankment.
Lieutenant Colonel testifies that Lee Oswald was given a Russian language exam as part of his Marine training only a few months before it defects to the Soviet Union. Oswald was a radar operator. He'd have about as much use for Russian as a cat has for pajamas.
It's a tiny bed.
Read all 26 volumes of the
Do I have to spell it out for you? Lee Oswald was no ordinary soldier. He was probably in military intelligence. That's why I was trained in Russian.
Oh, I just, sometimes when this has happened in a lot of movies, Zodiac, All the President's Men, they get very obsessed with the case and then their life falls apart. I don't want that to happen.
Remember whose office this was in '63?
Sure, Guy Bannister.
When he retired, he became a private eye here, headed the Anti-Communist League of the Caribbean, all out of this office. Now take a look here. 544 Camp Street, 531 Lafayette Street. Same building, right? But with different addresses and different entrances, both going to the same place, the office upstairs. Guess who used this address? Lee Harvey Oswald. Because this office address was stamped on the pro-Castro leaflets he was handing out in the summer '63 down on Canal Street. Now these are the same leaflets they found in his garage in Dallas.
What the hell is this doing on this piece of paper?
After the arrest, 544 Camp Street never appeared on pamphlets again. Arrested that day for fighting with some anti-Castro Cubans. But actually, he had contacted them a few days earlier as an ex-Marine trying to join their anti-Castro crusade.
You lied to me, you hypocrite! Liar, you son of a communist!
There was no real fight. The arresting lieutenant later said he felt it was a stage incident. In jail, Oswald has a private session with Special Agent John Quigley of the FBI.
Okay.
Oswald is released, and Quigley destroys his notes from the interview. Oswald appears on a local TV debate.
You are a communist.
No, Mr. Bringier. I am not a communist.
And here's another one for you. What would you say if I told you Lee Oswald was trained in the Russian language when he was a Marine? Take a look across the street. Post office. Upstairs in 1963, that was the Office of Naval Intelligence. Just by coincidence, Bannister, before he was FBI, was O&I. And what's that little saying they have?
Once O&I, always O&I.
Well, he likes working near his old pals.
Lou, we are standing in the heart of the United States government's intelligence community here in New Orleans. That's the FBI there, all right? That's the CIA. That's the Secret Service.
What you driving at, boss?
Yeah.
We're going back into the case, Lou. We're going to start by tracking down your anonymous source from 3 years ago. You're not under cross-examination here, Jack. What I need is a little clarification about the night Guy Bannister beat you over the head. Now, don't tell me you don't remember that, because you called our office. You called our office from your hospital bed, and you were hopping mad about it.
Oh.
You told me you and Guy were good friends for a long time, and he never hit you before.
No, I never touched him.
Yet on November 22nd, 1963, the day the president's murdered, police report says he pistol whipped you with a .357 Magnum.
That's true, I saw it.
Well, does a simple argument over a phone bill sound like a believable explanation to you?
There's more to it than that. I don't think I should talk about it.
Well, I'd ask Guy. We were friendly, you know. Heart attack, wasn't it?
You buy what you read in the papers.
You have other information?
I didn't say that.
You have other information?
I didn't say that. All I know is that he died suddenly, just before the Warren report came out.
Why did Guy beat you, Jack?
Oh my gosh. Because he thought he looked at his files?
People that was hanging around the office that summer. See, I was never part of the operation, you know. I was just there taking care of their private eye. With Cubans coming and going. I mean, first they all look the same to me.
Well, play with this right, we go back. Come on.
Dave Ferry. You know about him?
Yeah, we know Dave. Was he there?
Practically lived there.
This one up.
Called it Operation Mongoose. Whole idea was they were going to train these Cuban exiles, you know, for another invasion of Cuba.
Frenchie.
They were stockpiling arms, explosives.
All this right under the noses of the intelligence community?
Yeah, everybody knew everybody. You know, they were all part of the network. Everybody in those days was running guns somewhere.
Bannister. Now, where does he fit in all this?
He was running his camp up north of Lake Pontchartrain there. Ferry, Jesus, he was the craziest. He told the FBI, shut up the camps, you know, and confiscate the napalm, C4, and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
Oswald?
Yep.
Yeah,
he was there too.
Was anyone else involved at Bannister's level?
Oh, yeah, one guy, I don't know, big, white hair, and I can't remember his name, but Oswald was with him. But he had something to do with money.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Clay
Bertrand?
Bertrand, yeah,
Clay Bertrand?
yeah, that was...
Clay Bertrand. Was Kennedy ever discussed, Jack?
I don't know.
The assassination, Jack?
No. What's the problem?
What's the problem?
Spell it out for you, Mr. Garrison.
Nobody knows what we're talking about here, Jack.
Oh, so naive.
He's saying everyone does know?
Tell them the day after the assassination, you're called on the phone by this Clay Bertrand.
That John Candy. There's so many people in this movie.
Truth is, I never met the dude.
One likes friends that have friends.
I don't know what the cat looks like, and furthermore, I don't know where he's at.
You ever speak to Oswald in Dallas?
Hell no. This ain't my scene, man. Bertrand called that summer and asked me to help the kid upgrade his Marine discharge.
Mr. Bertram said that he would take care of
that's fine. Hello, to whom am I speaking?
But I want you to know, I'm gonna call you in front of the grand jury. You lie to the grand jury, you've been lying to me. I'm gonna charge you with perjury.
If I give you the name of the big enchilada, you know him as Bon Voyage Dino. I mean like permanent. I mean like a bullet in my head, you dig? The government's still breathing. You want to line up with a dead man?
Into the grand jury with the real identity of Clay Bertrand. Your fat behind's going to the slammer. Now you dig me?
You're as crazy as your mama. The government's gonna jump all over your head, Jimbo, and go cock-a-doodle-doo.
Oh my. So Clay Bertrand, Tommy Lee Jones, he's not giving him that identity.
Who's on? Hey, let's go, Willie.
Kevin Bacon. Holy, this is quite the entourage cast.
I met him sometime in June of '62. Dave Ferry took me there for the express reason to meet him.
Comes up again.
Sexual purpose.
Dave introduced
Willie,
him
why don't you say hello to Leon Oswald?
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's he doing here?
You said that this Leon was actually Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah. Hey, man, I got no reason to lie to you. I'm already in jail.
Took all our C4 to 10,000 rounds.
Our hands are empty. How can we kill him?
The real problem getting at him, Castro has informers on every block.
They got all kinds of new stuff. I can show you dozens of poison. Just stick it in his food. He'd die in 3 days.
Kennedy. Started in on Kennedy again.
A week's notice, because I will kill. Right in the White House. I'll stab him right in his heart.
Okay, probably should have questioned Dave Ferry a little more.
We'll get what's coming to him. It can be blamed on Castro. The whole country will want to invade Cuba. All we got to do is get Kennedy in open.
It's always some harebrained scheme or another.
Oh! What about the Secret Service? The cop?
If it's planned right, it's no problem. Look how close they got him to go. Eisenhower was always riding around an open top. Triangulation and crossfire, that's the key.
We're literally talking about assassinating the president like this.
This is about order. Who rules? Because, see, fascism is coming back. Nixon was going to be one of the great presidents till Kennedy wrecked it.
I thought this guy was on the opposite side.
The day that communist son of a bitch died was a great day, a great day.
He's talking about the president.
People got to know why he was killed, because he was communist. Hey, you know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Galson. Not bad-looking at all.
No, he is not.
What about that railroad man, Lee Bowers? Saw those men at the picket fence?
Single car accident on an empty road in Midlothian, Texas.
We need to find more witnesses, Lou.
Of course he did.
Well, it was Rose Shermy. She said she was a dope runner for Jack Ruby. She's dead, too. Hit and run.
Why don't we go right to the horse's mouth, Chief? Jack Ruby's been rotting away in a Dallas jail cell for 3 years. He's ready to crack.
My investigation will hit the front pages by sunrise, ready to blow up right in our face.
No father. Joins the Marines at 17. He learns Russian. He's discharged from the Marines, supposedly because his mother's sick.
I wish to renounce my citizenship and become a Soviet citizen. I'm going to make known to them all information I have concerning the Marine Corps.
He meets Marina, whose uncle is a colonel in Soviet intelligence.
The only explanation for the royal treatment can be that he did give them radar secrets, or fake secrets.
Francis Gary Powers' U-2 spy flight goes down. The plane was untouchable. Powers hinted that Oswald could have given the Russians enough data to hit it. And as a direct result, the peace summit between Khrushchev and Eisenhower failed. I can't help thinking maybe someone in our military...
It gets weirder. You are an assistant DA. Just stick to what you can prove in
Facts?
court.
You want facts?
Please. Susie, don't
From
get sidetracked.
1945, he's never investigated or charged by the Navy for revealing classified information.
To the Russians.
This is a man who has defected once already. It's crazy. Ordinary people get blacklisted for having leftist affiliation.
Doesn't add up.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Job at the warehouse right smack on Elm Street at the book depository.
Presumably so he can now exercise his intellect stacking school texts at $1.25 an hour.
Where they think he was shot from?
Bill Williams has links through his family to the CIA and does classified work for Bell Helicopter.
Okay, it's all a little too connected, isn't it?
When he's arrested, Marina buries him with the public. Her description of him is that of a psychotic and violent man.
I have too much facts, and facts tell me that Lee shot
Kennedy.
All right, the poor woman was probably suffering from nervous exhaustion.
So Kevin Costner doesn't think Lee Harvey Oswald did it.
He was not a real defector. That he was an intelligence agent on some kind of mission for our government and remained one until the day he died.
The intelligence community murdered their own commander-in-chief.
Maybe Oswald didn't even pull the trigger. Nitrate tests indicate he hadn't even fired a rifle on November 22nd. He didn't even bother to see if the rifle had been fired that day.
He had his palm print on the weapon.
Well, it went to the FBI bill. FBI didn't find a damn thing.
What?
For all we know, it could have been taken off Oswald in the morgue. There's no chain of evidence.
I never could figure out why this guy orders a traceable weapon to this post office box when he can go into any store in Texas, give a phony name, and walk out with a rifle which can never be traced.
Frame him, obviously. Y'all gotta start thinking on a different level like the CIA does. Now, we're through the looking glass here, people. White is black, and black is white. Maybe Oswald is exactly what he said he was.
Patsy.
A patsy.
Sheesh.
This is where I was sitting. Shots came from near that wooden fence over there, and I saw a man run from the fence toward those railroad cars.
I can't believe they haven't killed this guy yet.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flash of light in the bushes, and that last shot. And I saw smoke coming from over there.
It's so clearly from the knoll, everyone said.
I saw this one man running from the corner of the book depository. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning.
They're making that look like Joe Pesci.
There was quite a bit of traffic, and I stopped alongside the screen pickup truck. And I remember it being very noticeable because it had one of its wheels parked up on the side of the curb. And then when I saw the gun, I thought, well, Secret Service is not very secret.
You mean you identified Jack Ruby on Saturday, the day before he shot Oswald?
That's right. When I saw him on TV.
But you didn't seem nearly so sure in your statement to the Warren Commission.
Well, it was him I was chasing up the grassy knoll. I thought maybe our guys had shot back.
I am not. I don't know you. We gotta find the shooter.
I said you're coming with us. I want those pictures
I don't have any son of a...
We have 3 bullets and 3 shots that came from the book depository. That's all we're willing to say.
I saw a man shooting from over there behind that fence.
You only heard 3 shots, and you're not to talk about this with anybody.
Okay.
When I read my testimony as published by the Warren Commission, it was a fabrication from start to finish.
I never said any such thing. I recognized him, and I told them so. You see that notarized signature right there at the bottom of each page? That is not my signature. Was any notary present during any of my questioning?
I don't want her to get killed.
Beverly, tell Mr. Garrison about the Carousel Club.
Well, I used to go over there a lot to see Jack, and especially my friend Jada, who danced there. You know, everybody in those days knew Jack was in the mob.
Beverly, what about Lee?
Beverly, come over here. Well, one time I came in, and Jack introduced me to these 2 guys.
Hi, my friend Lee Oswald.
I don't remember the other guy's name. He was a weird-looking guy. He had these eyebrows. No, I may not remember a name, but I always remember a face.
She looks so familiar.
Will you testify, Beverly?
If they can kill the President of the United States, do you think they're gonna think twice about a 2-bit showgirl like me?
I understand the pressure you're under, Beverly.
Because he's going to be under investigation soon for looking into this.
I'm Oswald. Time me.
Go. Between 6, 7 seconds.
Without really aiming. Key is the second and third shots came almost right on top of each other. It takes a minimum 2.3 seconds to recycle this thing.
Them wanting that girl's camera immediately after? No one would care about that yet. Unless...
So you take this Carcano, world's worst shoulder weapon, you try to hit a moving target at 88 yards through heavy foliage. The FBI tried 2 sets of tests. Not one of their sharpshooters could match Oswald's performance. The guy couldn't do the shooting, and they sold this lemon to the American public.
Why not just shoot Kennedy coming up Houston? There's plenty of time. He's out in the open.
I know, I keep asking myself the same thing.
Because he did shoot him.
Frontal shot, flat, low trajectory. For the third team, down here in this building here on a low floor. When he gets the kill zone there, it's a turkey shoot. 1 shooter, 1 spotter on a radio, maybe 3 teams.
Teams?
It takes skill to kill with a rifle, T.
Guys, I am very easily convinced of things, and...
The 2 Cubans introduce him as Leon Oswald. The commission says that Sylvia has bad eyesight because they have Oswald in Mexico, camera outside the Cuban embassy, and they say that this is Oswald in Mexico.
The whole point of the Mexican episode was to lay the blame at Fidel Castro's door.
This pretty much convicted Oswald in the public's mind, but Oswald told Captain Fritz the photo was fake.
It's not me.
That came from Janet Williams'
Well,
garage.
I never.
Who's Janet Williams?
This has been superimposed. The rest of the picture is not me at all. I have done a lot of
The
photographic work.
government had Photoshop back then?
But the shadow down here on the ground reads more like late afternoon or early morning. It's not the same time. Seems like this head is pasted onto somebody else's body, implicating him with the rifle and the gun.
Photoshop fail.
Grab your socks and hose and pull. Clay Bertrand is Clay Shaw.
Trademark.
That's incredible.
Can you get some sworn statements?
Now, that's gonna be tough. Nobody is talking.
I think we should have them in for a little chat. Told you I'm talking to Clay Shaw this morning.
Honey, we're going to Antoine's with the kids like we do every year.
No, I told you I was talking to Shaw. It was when I scheduled it. I didn't realize it was a holiday.
For Pete's sake, honey, look at the calendar.
Liz, you were there. Why didn't you say something?
You said A Sunday, not Easter Sunday.
Clay Shaw's important.
We're not.
I didn't say that, Liz.
See, this is what happens when you...
Well, in an investigation we're conducting, your name has come up a number of times.
I wouldn't imagine where.
I've recently talked to a number of men who claim to know you. You acquainted with a David Logan?
No, never heard of him.
A Perry Russo?
No.
A Willie O'Keefe?
No, I don't believe I know anyone by that name.
And several evenings later, you had him over for dinner at your apartment on Dauphine Street. You recall that?
Of course not. I don't know this man. Obviously, then, I wouldn't have him over for dinner.
Hope you like squab. Is it champagne?
Perhaps a few more details about the evening will refresh your memory. Mr. O'Keefe told us dinner was served by a uniformed waiter, a colored man. He particularly remembered that you sat at one end and he at the other, which he found rather unusual because the table was so long. Does that bring back memories of Willie O'Keefe?
Not at all. On the other hand, I do have a lovely Chippendale dining table, and I often have a friend over sitting at one end while I sit at the other.
I would imagine that a uniformed waiter helped.
I call him Smedley's real name is Frankie Jenkins, but I could hardly imagine anything more uncouth during dinner than my turning toward the kitchen hollering, "Frankie!"
Uncouth.
After dinner, you paid him to have sex.
Quarter is filled with vivid imaginations, my dear Mr. Garrison. But grimy young hoodlums who will say and do
In the course
anything,
of that night,
as you well
Mr.
know.
O'Keefe, man named David Ferris, stopped by the house along with another young man.
Oh. That seems like a lot
The
of
four of you parted early into the morning hours.
pomp and circumstance. You know how long it would take to paint someone's that gold? It's like a good paint job.
Name Clay Bertrand mean anything to you?
I believe there was a man with a name similar to that worked over the Chamber of Commerce. Is that the man you had in mind?
No, it was not. You ever met Lee Harvey Oswald?
You really have me consorting with a sordid cast of characters.
Daddy coming, Mama. Soon. He never keeps his promises.
You ever been a contract agent for the Central Intelligence Agency?
And if I were, Mr. Garrison, do you believe I would be here today talking to somebody like you?
What does that mean?
Mr. Garrison, I am a patriot, first and foremost.
I've spent half my life in the United States military serving and defending this great country, Mr. Shaw. And you're the first person I ever met consider an act of patriotism to murder his own president.
I think we showed too many cards. Oh, he's in trouble.
Honey, you could have telephoned.
I don't know what to say, except I'm sorry, all right? I just don't have rabbits on my mind.
What am I supposed to tell your kids, Jim?
I don't know what to tell them. I'm doing my job to make sure they grow up in a country where justice won't be an arcane, vanished idea they read about in history.
Well,
Big
that replace a
land.
husband or a father on Easter Sunday.
Well, it's gonna get worse, Liz.
Oh, that's not the best thing to say right now.
You know who killed President Kennedy? Was there a conspiracy here in New Orleans?
Uh-oh, someone talked.
Shaw must have gotten him on our
Subject
tape.
has raised some interesting questions.
Since you're the only straight shooter in that office, I'd like an answer from you. Did you plant it?
Okay.
Somebody planted that story.
Yeah, I'll tell you who.
Meet me in the lobby of the Fontainebleau in 20 minutes.
I guarantee you the boss will protect you.
There's a death warrant for me. Don't you get it?
From who?
Why'd you guys have to go and get me involved with this?
Did we get you involved, or did Clay Shaw, Dave?
I knew Oswald. He was in my Civil Air Patrol unit. I taught him everything. He talked about his kid, really wanted her to grow up with a chance, but... What's this?
Ain't nobody coming in today. Just room service.
Got cancer. I've had it for years. I've been working with mice, trying to find a cure.
I've been working with mice?
Shaw's an untouchable. Highest clearance. Shaw, Oswald, the Cubans, all agency.
About Ruby.
Jack was a pimp. He was a bagman for the Dallas mob. He used to run guns to Castro when he was still on our side. CIA and the Mafia working together, trying to whack out the beard. Mutual interest. They've been doing it for years. Check out something called Mongoose, Operation Mongoose.
We've heard that before.
And who killed the president?
Oh, man, why don't you Stop it! Who did the president? Who killed Kennedy? Man, it's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.
Hey, he's having a...
All I wanted was to be a Catholic priest. Live in a monastery.
Okay.
They'll get to you too. They'll destroy you.
That's...
I'm so exhausted I can't see straight.
That's terrifying.
We think the conference room is also bugged, maybe the phones. We're going to have to debug the whole place.
Bugging the DA's office. This is outrageous.
Okay, you handle it. I don't have time for this nonsense.
Calling him Newman?
I'm coming to Washington.
Oh, I'm stressed for him.
David Fair is dead. Found his body in his apartment a couple hours ago.
Did he kill himself?
What's he look like, Nick?
I don't see any violence, Jim. Heart attack, maybe an aneurysm. Looks like natural causes.
Or a needle in the neck.
I find nothing in it that is desirable, and on the other hand, everything that is loathsome.
Roll, Lord.
What is that?
Fair was the only one to express any kind of remorse about the whole thing.
They found Ferry's Cuban friend Eladio Del Valle today.
Is he also dead?
Tortured, shot in the heart at point blank.
Holy crap.
Man's afraid of dying, then he kills himself in a way that leaves no trace. But he leaves 2 unsigned suicide notes.
The fact is, he's gone, Chief, and so is our case. Newspaper editors, American Bar Association.
I agree
They're
with
not
Bill.
gonna
We haven't got it good yet.
Gonna get whacked.
We know Oswald didn't pull that trigger. Castro did. If that comes out, there's going to be a war, boy. Millions of people are going to die. God damn it, look at me when I talk to you.
Whoa.
You got a brain in that thick skull of yours. Listen to me. You listen real hard. Now get in the car.
Oh no. We know Oswald didn't pull the trigger. Fidel Castro did. Cubans wanted the president dead.
Garrison, glad you came. Sorry about the precautions. I could give you a false name, but I won't. Just call me X, but I'm not going to name names and tell you who or what I represent, except to say you're close.
Oh.
I was one of those secret guys in the Pentagon that supplies the military hardware, the planes, bullets, rifles, black ops, assassinations, coup d'etat, rigging elections, propaganda, psych warfare. World War II, I was in Romania, Greece, Yugoslavia. We were in Vietnam in 54, Indonesia 58, Tibet 59, the Dalai Lama out. Set up all the bases for the invasion, supposed to take place in October 62. A lot of pissed off people, Mr. Garrison. You understand?
Because they were supposed to invade?
Ordered home the first 1,000 troops for Christmas. A strange thing happened to me. The Panama.
You are going to the South Pole. Dr. Mooney's got all the details. I want you to check with him.
I was sent by General Y to the South Pole, the military escort for a group of international VIPs. I was on my way back in New Zealand.
Like they wanted him out of the way?
Studio picture, detailed biographical data, Russian information, and we're pretty sure of the fact that he killed the president alone, although it took them 4 more hours before they even charged him with that crime in Dallas.
What?
And sure enough, I found out that someone had told the 112th Military Intelligence to stand down that day. Colonel Wright.
I believe it's a mistake.
This is significant because it is standard operating procedure. I mean, even if we had not allowed the bubble top to be removed from the limit, we would have placed at least 100 to 200 agents on the sidewalk without question. We would have arrived days ahead of time, studied the route, never would have let a man open an umbrella along the way, never would have allowed that limousine to slow down to 10 miles an hour, much less take that unusual curve at Houston and Elm. It was a violation of the most basic protection codes we have, and it is the best indication of a massive plot in Dallas. Black ops, Mr. Garrison. People in my business, people like my superior officer could have called Colonel Reich and said, look, we have another unit coming from so-and-so providing security. You'll stand down. Army Intel had a Harvey Lee Oswald on file. But all those files have been destroyed.
Of course they have.
Things were happening, and your Lee Harvey Oswald had nothing to do with them. He had the entire cabinet on a trip to the Far East. We had 1/3 of a combat division returning from Germany in the air above the United States at the time of the shooting. Word was radioed from the White House Situations Room to Lyndon Johnson that one individual performed the assassination. Does that sound like a bunch of coincidences to you, Mr. Garrison? The cabinet was out of the country to get their perceptions out of the way. Troops are in the air for possible riot control. The telephones didn't work to get the wrong stories from spreading if anything went wrong with the plan. Nothing was left to chance. He could not be allowed to escape alive. Those of us who'd been in secret ops since the beginning knew the Warren Commission was fiction. But there was something deeper, uglier. I know Alan Dulles very well. I briefed him many a time in his house.
I never realized Kennedy was so dangerous to the establishment.
Why? The how and the who is just scenery for the public. keeps them guessing like some kind of parlor game, prevents them from asking the most important question, why?
Why was he
killed? Who benefited? Who has the power to cover it up?
Did they want the Vietnam War to continue? Is that why?
This was unprecedented. I can't tell you the shockwaves that this sent along the corridors of power in Washington. You got some very upset people here.
There's a lot of information going on in
Kennedy's
my brain.
directives were never really implemented because of bureaucratic resistance. One of the results was the Cuban operation was turned over to my department as Operation Mongoose. Mongoose was pure black ops. 50 fake business fronts for laundering money. And all of this came under the control of General Watt. All he did was take the rules of covert warfare he'd used abroad and brought them into this country. He had the people, the equipment, the bases, and the motivation. You know how many helicopters have been lost in Vietnam? Nearly 3,000 so far. Who makes that? Bell Helicopter. Who owns Bell? Bell was nearly bankrupt when the First National Bank of Boston approached the CIA about developing the helicopter for Indochina use. Nearly $200 billion to be spent before it's over.
Oh?
In 1949, it was $10 billion. The organizing principle of any society, Mr. Garrison, is for war. And Kennedy wanted to end the Cold War in his second term. He wanted to call off the moon race in favor of cooperation with the Soviets. He signed a treaty with the Soviets to ban nuclear testing.
No, because then no one gets rich.
But all of that ended on the 22nd of November, 1963.
The war.
Kennedy tried to rub Lem's nose in saying if we didn't go into Cuba, which is so close, why should we go into Vietnam, which is so far away?
$100 billion. Kennedy brothers target voting districts for those defense dollars. They give TFX fighter contracts only to those counties that are going to make a difference in 64 and the people in the loop.
You control McNamara.
So many.
You control Kennedy.
So many secret agendas.
Perpetrators must be on the winning side, never subject to prosecution for anything by anyone. Essentially reverses Kennedy's new withdrawal policy and gives a green light to covert action against North Vietnam.
I'll give you a damn war.
In that document, lay the Vietnam War. Oh, don't take my word for it. Don't believe me. Do your own work, your own thinking.
The size of this is testify.
Me?
Testify.
No, I'd be arrested and gagged.
I don't have much of a case.
You don't have a choice anymore.
Because they keep killing everyone.
Remember, fundamentally, people are suckers for the truth. And the truth is on your side, Bubba. I just hope you get a break.
Holy crap. Okay, here's the thing. These JFK papers just came out, right? And everyone's freaking out. And I'm like, if it was actually, no one's gonna have it on paper. I don't, like he said, there's no trail. Just everyone has plausible deniability.
Sir, you are under arrest. You're charged with conspiracy and entering into an agreement with other persons for the specific purpose of committing the crime of murder.
It's become a dangerous country, sir, when you cannot trust anyone anymore, when you cannot tell the truth.
I'm scared for his family.
A team of reporters has learned that District Attorney Jim Garrison and his staff have intimidated, bribed, and even drugged witnesses in their attempt to prove a conspiracy involving New Orleans businessman Clay Shaw.
I think Mr. O'Keefe must have seen someone he thought was Lee Oswald.
I didn't talk to nobody after the assassination. I was on drugs at the hospital. Personally, I think he's quite ill mentally.
Mr. Garrison is indebted and tied to the mob. The more one looks at Jim Garrison, the more one finds he has destroyed reputation.
That's what they're doing. Just like in Enemy of the State. They have all the power to destroy all of his credibility.
Hello, is this Jim Garrison's daughter?
Yes,
Virginia or Elizabeth?
Virginia.
Virginia, you're a lucky little girl. Your daddy's entered you in a beauty contest. Like to be in a beauty contest?
How do we know?
God, ancient time.
That sounds fun.
School,
Honey,
3 o'clock every day. Okay, Virginia, that's all I need to know. I'll call
Mommy,
you again.
I'm going to be in a beauty contest.
Who is this? Hello?
That is so
Virginia in a beauty contest?
creepy.
A man just called. He wanted to know everything. Her height, her weight,
Honey,
where
some
she...
crackpot. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis.
Honey, your daughter's life's just been threatened. Kidnapper, murderer, who knows
Only
what?
cowards make crank calls. The government wants everybody to be scared to speak out.
What's the matter
They count
with you?
on it.
Your own daughter. What kind of man are you?
Oh, no.
Take them up to my mother's if it makes you feel any better. All right, you spend a week. Get a hold of yourself.
Honey, before this Kennedy thing, nothing mattered in this world more than your children. Is it such a chore?
If I said I'll spend more time with him. I'll spend more time with him. All right? Now, I cannot fight you and the whole world, too, Liz.
You've changed.
Well, of course I've changed. My eyes have opened. And once they're open, believe me, what used to look normal seems insane and now keen. Don't you think this has something to do with that? Can't you see?
I don't want to see. I'm tired.
Oh, this is so hard to watch.
I just want to raise our children and live a normal life. I want my life back.
I had a life too, you know. You just can't bury your head in the sand like some ostrich, Liz. It's about our kids growing up and I did all the lies and I'm angry about it. And my life is because of it. If you could see it that way, Liz, you see that your life is too.
You never talked to me this way before. I'm taking.
Go on then. Fine, get out.
I am.
Go hide somewhere. Join the rest of them. They'll tell you I'm crazy. Won't have any problems filling out your divorce papers on me.
Oh,
Someone's got to try, guys.
Are we going away, Daddy?
Oh, honey.
I don't know, Jasper.
Because of Kennedy? Are the same people gonna kill us, Pop?
No, Jasper. Nobody's gonna kill us.
I don't like it when you and Mommy fight.
Oh.
Why do we have to leave? Don't you love us anymore?
Daddy loves both of you, okay? And there's nothing wrong with feeling a little scared, Jasper. Telling the truth can be a scary thing sometimes. It scared President Kennedy, and he was a brave man. But if you let yourself be too scared, then you let the bad guys take over the country, don't you? Yeah. Then everybody gets scared.
Stay with Mom, Papa. Please.
Oh, boy.
And never before has an extradition request from this office been refused.
We haven't tried to get Julianne Mercer in here.
No, she could get hurt.
Yeah, but she's the best damn witness we have.
I just don't want to do it.
Oswald went to see the FBI 2 weeks before the assassination.
Can I see Special Agent Posty, please?
But what the note really said, no one knows.
There's no trouble.
Posty tore it up and flushed it down the toilet.
What if the note was describing the assassination attempt on JFK? Because if it was any kind of threat, like Hosty said, they would have kept it. Because it makes her case against the angry lone nut that much stronger.
That's true.
I think we can raise a possibility that Oswald not only was an informant, but that he may well have been the original source we have for the telex. Motorcade went ahead on schedule, and this wasn't even mentioned in the Warren report.
The revolutionary group may attempt to assassinate President Kennedy.
I believe Oswald was sending information through Hosty. He was told to be at the book depository that day by his handlers to either prevent the assassination or to take part in it.
Why would the FBI cover it up? A telex that disappears from every single FBI office in this country?
Don't you have enough proof for the FBI's complicity?
Maybe I got just a little bit more respect. Hell, you gonna keep a conspiracy going on between the mob, the CIA, the FBI, when you know for a fact you can't keep a secret in this room between 12 people? What the hell do we really got?
They said he's untouchable.
We should be investigating our mafia leads here in New Orleans. You know, Castro being assassinated by the mob by us, it sounds pretty wild to junk you, citizens. They close the book on JFK. Oh, come on.
Could the mob change the parade route, Bill? Or eliminate the protection for the president?
Yes, that's...
Could the mob send Oswald to Russia and get him back? This was a military-style ambush from start to finish. This was a coup d'etat with Lyndon Johnson waiting in the wings.
Oh, okay, so now you're saying Lyndon Johnson was involved?
Bill, Lyndon Johnson got $1 billion for his Texas friends Brown and Root. Why are witnesses being bought off and murdered? Why are federal agencies blocking our extraditions and subpoenas when we were never blocked?
I don't know. You were way out there taking a crap to win, boss. And I, for one, am not going along on this one.
Oh, he's scared. They got to him.
I cannot work with Bill Broussard anymore.
Are you giving me an ultimatum, Lou?
Well, if that's what you want to call it.
Oh, no.
No, I never thought it'd come to this. I guess I am.
Well, I will not have any damn ultimatums put to me, Lou. I'll accept your resignation.
Well, you sure got it.
Guys!
Oh, you're being a little hard.
No, I don't think I am, Susie.
And a compassionate country. And I intend to make that my basis for running and over the period.
What the heck was that? Was that from the TV? I forgot about that.
They killed him, honey. They won. And they killed Robert Kennedy.
No.
They shot him down.
Oh, my God. Both of them.
Both of them.
Both brothers. You were right. It ended.
For the first time, I feel really scared.
He's too little and they have too much power.
Sometimes I feel like I didn't ever love you or the children enough. I'm sorry.
It feels so taking on the U.S. government. The whole one, it feels like we already lost. I don't know.
The Criminal District Court, Orleans Parish, Section H, is now in session.
That's the man I saw, David Ferris.
That's who you say you saw.
He was at the Pontchartrain wall.
A heroin addict injecting himself at the wall, barely conscious of his surroundings.
The oyster's shucking you, I told him. You got the right ta-ta, but the wrong ho-ho.
He already admitted.
Did you ever use the alias Clay Bertrand?
No.
Liar, liar, pants on freaking fire.
This in the court. Prove there was a conspiracy involving Clay Shaw. Must first prove that there was more than one man involved in the assassination.
Oh, it was that girl.
Two unpredictable things happened that day that made it virtually impossible. One, the 8mm home movie taken by Abraham Zapruder while standing near the grassy knoll. Two, the third wounded man, James Tague, who was nicked by a fragment, left no possibility of a full shot. So the shot or fragment that left a superficial wound on Tague's cheek had to come from one of the 3 bullets fired from the 6th floor of the depository. But rather than admit to a conspiracy or investigate further, the Warren Commission chose to endorse the theory put forth by an ambitious junior counselor, Arlen Specter. The magic bullet enters the president's back, headed downward at an angle of 17 degrees. It then moves upward in order to leave Kennedy's body from the front of his neck, wound number 2, where it waits 1.6 seconds, presumably in midair, where it turns right, then left, right, then left.
After it goes out of his body?
Makes a dramatic U-turn and buries itself into Conley's left thigh.
That's not possible.
And once you conclude the magic bullet could not create all 7 of those wounds, you have to conclude that there was a 4th shot. If there was a second rifleman, then by definition, there had to be a conspiracy. 51 witnesses, gentlemen of the jury, thought they heard shots coming from the grassy knoll, which is to the right and front of the president.
Those are really good models.
Each of these key witnesses has no doubt whatsoever one or more shots came from behind the picket fence.
Almost a fifth or possibly a quarter of the back of the head blasted out, along with the underlying brain tissue.
But then the body was illegally moved to Washington for the autopsy. Because when a coup d'etat has occurred, there's a big difference between an autopsy that is performed by civilian doctors and one that is performed by military doctors under order. The departure of Air Force One from Love Field that Friday afternoon was not so much a takeoff as it was a getaway with the newly sworn-in president.
Oh my gosh.
Why did Colonel Fink not dissect the tract of the bullet wounds?
Obvious tracheotomy.
Well, I heard Dr. Hume stating that...
That's enough. That's enough. It's duly noted.
For a lieutenant colonel in the Army, you just follow orders.
It is not our business to discuss this with anyone outside this room.
As I recall, it was Admiral Kenny, Surgeon General of the Navy, told not to discuss the case.
What about the newspaper thing? Guys, in New Zealand?
We have the epileptic seizure around 12:15 p.m., distracting the police. The epileptic later vanished. Never checking into the hospital, the A-team gets on the 6th floor of the depository. The 3rd team, the C-team, moves in behind the picket fence above the grassy knoll, where the shooter and the spotter are first seen by the late Lee Bowers in the watchtower of the rail yard.
The late Lee Bowers.
Kennedy's motorcade makes a turn from Maine onto Houston. They don't shoot him coming up Houston, which is the easiest shot for a single shooter in the book depository. They wait till he gets to the killing zone between 3 rifles. And he makes a final turn from Houston on the Elm. Shooters across Dealey Plaza tighten, taking their aim, waiting for the radio to say, green, green.
Oh my gosh.
First shot rings out. Sounding like a backfire, it misses the car completely. Conley's head turns slightly to the right. Second shot hits Kennedy in the throat from the front. President emerging from behind the road sign. You can see that he's obviously been hit, raising his arms to his throat. Frame 232 hits Kennedy in the back, pulling him downward and forward. He's visibly holding his Stetson, which is impossible if his wrist has been shattered. Conley is turning here now. The 4th shot. It misses Kennedy and takes Conley in the back. Proves there were 2 rifles. My God, they're going to kill us all. Somewhere around this time now, another shot that misses the car completely strikes James Tague down by the underpass. The 3rd team takes Kennedy in the head from the front. Then going back and to his left, from the front and right. Back, to the left.
Okay.
Back and to the left.
My heart is beating so fast.
Like hobos, were being pulled off trains, marched through Dealey Plaza, photographed, and yet there's no records of their arrest. Probably told to wait there by his handler for a phone call. But the phone call never came.
Hey, you! Do you know this man is unemployed?
Yes, he is. President's been shot. What the Warren Commission would have us believe is that after firing 3 bolt-action shots in 6 seconds, Oswald then leaves 3 cartridges neatly side by side in the firing net. Then shows up cool and calm on the 2nd floor in front of Patrolman Baker. All this within a maximum of 90 seconds of the shooting.
Hey, you!
He buys a coat, and at a slow pace, spotted by Mrs. Reed on the 2nd floor, strolls out the more distant front exit, where the cops had gathered. He knew there was a problem. He may have even known he was the patsy. Perhaps fear now came to Oswald for the very first time.
He's very good at this, Kevin Costner explaining it.
Oswald is next seen by shoe salesman Johnny Brewer, lurking along Jefferson Avenue. Oswald is scared. He begins to realize the full implications of this thing. But though he has $14 in his pocket, he does not buy the 75-cent ticket. At least 30 officers in a fleet of patrol cars to send on the movie theater. They knew. Someone knew Oswald was going to be there. Brewer helpfully leads the cops into the theater and from the stage points Oswald out.
How could they have known in 14 minutes?
It's already been decided. By the time he is brought out from the theater, a large crowd is waiting to scream at him. He doesn't know the unseen forces ranging against him. By the time he reached police headquarters, he is booked for murdering Tippit. By the time the sun rises the next morning, he is booked for murdering the president. The whole country, fueled by the media, assumes he is guilty.
Oh my gosh.
Jack Ruby is shown into an underground garage by one of his inside men on the Dallas police force, brought out like a sacrificial lamb and nicely disposed of as an enemy of the people.
Oswald!
Oh boy. The government would be in trouble if I was on this jury.
Lee Harvey Oswald, a crazed, lonely man who wanted attention and got it by killing a president, was only the first. In later years, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, men whose commitment to change and peace would make them dangerous to men who are committed to war would follow. Men who remove our guilt by making murder a meaningless act of a loner. How many airplane and car crashes will occur before they are exposed for what they are? For if it prosper, none dare call it treason. The American public is yet to see the real x-rays and photographs of the autopsy. Why? There are hundreds of documents that could help prove this conspiracy. Why are they being withheld or burned by the government?
It's a thing. They're already destroyed.
President Kennedy was murdered by a conspiracy that was planned in advance at the highest levels of our government, carried out by fanatical and disciplined cold warriors. It was covered up by like-minded individuals in the Dallas Police Department, all the way up to including J. Edgar Hoover and Lyndon Johnson, whom I consider accomplices after the fact. But because the government considers you children who might be too disturbed or distressed to face this reality, or because you might possibly lynch those involved, you cannot see these documents for another 75 years. So that one glorious September morning in the year 2038, he can walk into the National Archives and find out what the CIA and the FBI knew. Someone may find out the damn truth. We better, or we might just as well build ourselves another government. You have a lot to think about. You see much hidden evidence the American public has never seen. You know, going back to when we were children.
Were women not allowed on the jury back then?
These are people who cannot afford to send money but do. These are the ones who drive the cab, who nurse in the hospitals, who see their kids go to Vietnam because it still belongs to us.
The people.
As long as the people have the guts to fight for what they believe in. If the government murders truth, if we cannot respect the hearts of these people, then this is not the country in which I was born in, and it's certainly not the country that I want to die in. You, the people, the jury system sitting in judgment on Clay Shaw, represent the hope of humanity against government power. In discharging your duty and bringing the first conviction in this house of cards against Clay Shaw, that's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's up to you.
Whoa. Now that was a courtroom speech. I bet you could feel
Clerk will now read the verdict.
Of all the people in this
New
room.
Orleans, Louisiana, March 1st, 1969. We, the jury, find the defendant, Clay Shaw, not guilty.
All I think it proves is you cannot run an investigation in the light of day, even questioning the intelligence operations of the United States government. Continue this investigation for 30 years. I owe that not only to Jack Kennedy, but to the country.
I should go home and cook some etouffee.
Oh, boy.
1990, Richard Helms, director of covert operations in 1963, admitted under oath that Clay Shaw had worked for the CIA. Clay Shaw died 1974 of lung cancer. No autopsy is allowed. 1978, Jim Garrison was elected judge of the Louisiana State Court of Appeal in New Orleans. He was reelected in 1988. To this date, he has brought the only public prosecution in the Kennedy killing. Southeast Asia, 2 million Asian lives lost. Oh, the Vietnam War. 58,000 American lives lost. 220 billion spent. 10 million Americans airlifted there by commercial aircraft. More than 5,000 helicopters lost. 6.5 million tons of bombs dropped. A congressional investigation from 1976-97 of probable conspiracy. The assassination of John F. Kennedy recommended Justice Department investigate further. As of 1991, the Justice Department has done nothing. The files of the House Select Committee on Assassination are locked away into the year 2029. Okay, well, I will be doing some research. Okay, I don't know what is truth. Guys, this makes you question everything, which I think is the point. And no matter what is truth and what is conspiracy and what is right in that movie and what it wasn't, what it did do is make you see it so clearly from the director or the writer or whatever's point of view. I'm like, okay, 1000% that makes sense. This is the right story. This is why I can't watch documentaries, because I watched this one and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And then I watch the exact opposite and they have me convinced. There's been so many times, especially lately, where you can hear two opposing things with two impeccable cases on either side. And so it's hard to know what to believe and what to think. And so in the end, I think you just have to do what you think is right. And I don't, holy crap. Over and over again, we've been shown that truth is not always presented as truth. A lot of things do lead to greed and power. But as far as the JFK assassination, I don't know. I watch another thing about JFK and Lee Harvey Oswald, and they could have me 1000% convinced. You know what I mean? It's just weird. And like I said, I don't know what in this movie is true and what's not. Like, were those files actually burned? Was the autopsy they told them not to do it in this way and blah, blah, blah. I don't know those facts, so I can't say. But wow, if I was on that jury, I'm so glad it didn't ruin Garrison's life, because I did think that it was going to be another one of those shows or stories where they become obsessed and then their family falls apart and then they end up, and I am surprised he did not die. JFK facts aside, as a movie, I thought it was so well done. The way they told the story, they weaved in how it could have happened. These flashbacks, and both ways they showed how it could have happened if it was Lee Harvey Oswald and if it could have happened if it was his A, B team, C team, and they did that very effectively. I can't even form a sentence because new things just keep popping up. Like, did that guy in the parking lot who said he saw these guys at the fence, was he actually killed? Like, so now these JFK files are out. I still don't think, like, to me it would be common sense that there would be nothing in them that would, even if this was a giant conspiracy by the CIA, there would be nothing in them that would tell us that. It would all be done secretly and destroyed. I don't know, guys. Oh, I have to be careful. But as far as the movie goes, back to the movie. I thought it was a very good movie. These courtroom dramas are so enticing to me, and I really love the way they make you think and feel, and it was a win, a big win. So thank you for voting that one as our winner. I'm so glad to have seen this, and it might take over my thoughts for the next coming weeks, but we've got one more with the Rainmaker. And so guys, I don't think I've made any sense in this outro. I gotta go. What is real? Okay, bye. Really quick. I know you cannot get your facts of history through movies. And I'm reading that Oliver Stone, the director, said he considers the film a counter myth to the myth of the Warren Commission. So basically, I think he's giving us like, what if this was true? Not claiming it as fact, but that questions could and should be raised. I also forgot to mention, holy crap, everyone was in that movie. Grumpy Old Men, Joe Pesci, Tommy Lee Jones, John Candy. I just saw that Gary Oldham was Lee Harvey Oswald, and Donald Sutherland, who's in everything, was the X guy. Oh my gosh. Quite the cast. Quite the movie. Quite the ride. Okay. I'm going away now.